right now, it's very exciting. It's a little bit of an old reunion. We have, of course, from the amazing folks that brought you Titanfall, here from Respawn, we have Abby Heppy and Drew Mccoy. Welcome, you guys.
Yay,
Thanks.
welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you both again in a totally different scenario than I'm used to seeing you.
Yeah, I know. I would see
years
Abby
later
in and out of the makeup chair at G4. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
She was usually like, that was really, you'd be going out to do some shoot or whatever, and I haven't seen her in years. So, yeah.
And Blair and I would meet in the game Cap Lab to play video games.
To play games.
Yeah.
We actually,
3 very different environments.
not to get super nerdy, but on, I believe it was Call of Duty 4.
Modern Warfare 2.
Yes.
Spec Ops.
Oh, yes,
we
Spec Ops.
crushed it. We had all stars, all veteran.
The one with all the Russian snipers and the heavy armor.
Yeah.
We killed it. I think that was Echo. Anyway,
I think we got all of them,
won't
yeah.
nerd out too much, but obviously
That's what the whole point of this is to nerd out. Please nerd out.
obviously we're here to talk about Titanfall, and you guys have new DLC coming up as well. It's IMC Rising, correct?
Yeah, we do, and we're getting real close to that being released. We're actually going to be having a live stream next week where we're going to be talking about some of the details. We're going to be showing some gameplay from the new maps. Drew can talk a little bit about them if he wants.
Yeah.
Give him something to do.
Yes, this is our.
Sorry, Drew. We're not being.
Way to deflect. I like that, Abby. That was awesome.
Well, it's our 3rd DLC pack for Titanfall, and it again has 3 maps in it. We got Zone 18, Sand Trap, and Backwater. They have some very different gameplay styles in them, and it's been a chance for our designers to play with a little more stable ground of gameplay, because as we're making a game, things change a lot, like how far a pilot can jump or how much damage a Titan does. And all these things are always in flux, so the levels later on in the development have a lot of knowledge to build from. So they've been really able to kind of try some different stuff. And it's fun to play them as they're coming along. I'm really excited for them to come out, hopefully soon.
Can we dive into some of the maps? Like, let's just start with Zone 18, because I feel like that's kind of getting maybe the most buzz out of them. Maybe not, but just from what I've seen. So, like the rooftops, for example. Let's just talk about.
Yeah.
What
So
changes with
it's in an I guess it's abandoned IMC facility for Spectre creation, and so it's got some fairly low ceiling buildings out in the open area, and they all have a similar height. So there's maps like Colony or Angel City where all the rooftops are at different heights.
You're just looking to like take someone's head off over like the top of the roof.
Yes,
You
but
can't
on
really
Zone 18
do that
it's
in Zone
very
18.
it's flat, and the outside feels almost like a paintball field would. And the designer who made it, Jeff, he really was trying to play with some difference in gameplay styles there. And so pilots, unless you want to get really brave and spend some time on those rooftops, you're going to want to go underground where there's a whole maze of connected areas and different floors. So there's verticality underground as well, but there's no Titans there. So it's a really interesting map, and it plays different than any other map that we really.
And there's
have
a lot of ways for Titans to sort of like get into those areas too, whether it's just like shelling them constantly.
Can you actually like open up and have them drop in? Or?
No, but like there's a lot of like windows and thought to
gotcha.
how it's laid out. So like even when you think you're safe indoors, you're running
Right.
through an area where a Titan thinks the pilots are going to congregate. There's sort of this central room where that happens a bunch.
There's also, since there's underground structures, there's like skylights that
Yeah.
open up
Okay.
to the floor, the ground. So if you're getting chased as a pilot, you can just pop right down and you can go in the maze. And
Yeah, but if they
try
know
and
where
escape.
those are, because that happened to me the first time we were
They'll
playing
scoot
those, where I'm like, I'm
around
so
and-
smart, I'm going to, and then just
Yeah.
everything exploded. I think it was like a cluster missile down there. Or something.
Pre-fired cluster down
Yeah.
there and get it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
And how has it been for you? I mean, because I know you're a voice in this game as well. How has it been to just be sort of in it as a voice actor and on the development side as well?
Really funny, mostly because when I play with everybody now and yeah, there's a lot of lines and things that got scrapped from the game that have just become like office memes. So I hear them all the time. at
That
work.
is
Give me an
amazing.
example of one.
Yeah, the one. I guess we were doing it was this thing that got scrapped, and it was just I guess that's really sassy delivery of it, and it was
Yes.
just like this and like you hear it everywhere at work now. Like
Yeah.
it's
That is
yeah.
great.
What happens during development is, it costs a lot to have professional VO actors, and you spend money to go to the studio, and so while you're working on stuff that's probably just going to get redone or cut or changed anyways, we pull in people from the office to do temp VO recordings. And
There were some amazing ones.
Yeah.
So Abby was doing Sarah really early on. If you read the final hours of Titanfall, you'll see a snippet of something we were trying for a single-player campaign, and so she was doing a whole bunch of VO for that, and that's where a lot of the lines came from. But everyone liked her so much, and she fit the character so well, and she has such great delivery. We just said, just keep using Abby.
Yeah.
I wish I
Yeah.
could make you the voice of my navigation system in my car. Give me directions. I would feel very
We can like
reassured.
privately record that for you.
Right.
We'll work it out.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's funny because like now when we play in game, like I'll do the your Titan will be ready in 30 seconds, but there's like 2 minutes on somebody's clock, and I'm just like, what?
Just to
is
mess
that a
with
bug?
them?
No, because you can't mess with the other team, so I just mess with my own team, which is probably not in the best spirit of competition.
Do you ever just drop in and like with people that don't know who you are and freak them out completely?
It's mostly confusing to them because I don't think they realize that. Oh, we were doing. This is good. We were doing testing in the office, and so we had like some random strangers there, and I was sitting next to one of them, and I was doing, and I was just like saying like where to go and what
Right.
to do, and the guy I guess came out after. He's like, wow, the AI in the game is just so good. Like I really felt like the character was like telling me like where to go and what I should be doing, but it was actually really just me sitting him and the combination of then hearing my voice in the game. So I was
Oh
told
my
I'm not
gosh.
allowed to talk during play sessions.
That is great. So, can you dive into any of the other maps?
Yeah, so
in detail?
probably my actual favorite from the pack is Backwater. It is a bootleg distillery, I
Distillery,
guess.
yeah.
And it's on like these cool platformed hillside thing, and there's a whole bunch of buildings to go in and like some machinery you can jump around as a pilot. And it's got a really good verticality to it, but without being too open for pilots. I'm much more of a pilot player, so maps like Boneyard and Training Ground get frustrating for me because I feel like I don't have enough ways to be sneaky as a pilot sometimes.
Right.
But Backwater, I feel like I can get almost anywhere and with minimal exposure, and then jump on the back of Titan and blow his brains out, and do all the cool stuff.
Sandtrap is really fun for capture the flag though,
Yeah.
because I'm a big capture the flag person. It's got like some cool paths around it, but it also has one that goes right up the middle. But it's open on the top, so if a Titan sees you like going through it, and you get these, they can still kill you, but you get these crazy like pilot chases back and forth over this like wall that essentially goes from one end of the level to the other. You have to be pretty good to actually get across it now, especially because we've all been playing on it for a while.
Yeah.
So we're probably a little more trained, but it's a really good one for capture the flag and for some of the different game modes. And like the name might give it away, there's a lot of sand and it's a very desert environment. So, it's pretty cool.
Can I ask, it's interesting because the game has been out for 6 months. Like, what have you guys sort of learned about, like, through the game, through the release, the DLC, and also about the community? Because it's interesting. I have friends that play that they really dig the community.
Yeah, it's been a really big learning experience for a lot of people in the company. We've never, I don't think hardly, a couple guys worked on EverQuest and EQ2 back in the day, but as a studio, and we don't have a ton of experience doing a multiplayer-only game. So the whole live ops portion of it, we've learned, things from it. We've found ways to help ourselves patch the game faster, and like on the server side or the matchmaking side, and trying to be really responsive to our community and our fans. And we've made lots of balance changes and things based on what we've seen. I don't know if there's other things that you've noticed because you've spent a lot more time reading them than.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're definitely right about the post-ops. I mean, we've been supporting the game since launch with a ton of free updates. Stuff like adding game modes and all the tweaks and changes and fixes and everything. So it's great because you get a lot of that feedback from community, and it helps you prioritize also, like, okay, this is probably the biggest problem that we need to fix, or this is the biggest bug that we need to address, or, hey, here's what people really want, and then can we do something with the amount of memory and everything that we have left to do something for that, like the Titan insignias that
Yeah,
that came out.
customization was a big
Because
thing. people asked
customization was
Right.
something that people wanted. And are we going to be able to post-launch put in the full customization where you're changing out every little part of your Titan? No,
Right.
but like, is there something cool that we can do? So I think the team's been really responsive when it comes to that stuff.
Very cool.
So we're talking about the latest DLC that's about to drop for Titanfall. The one that's been out, the second DLC, was Frontier's Edge. How is that going, or did that go for you guys?
It went well.
Yeah,
Like-
went really well.
We have, I've in my office and then in some of the network guys' offices, we've got big monitors on the walls with a bazillion graphs showing like who's playing what and where, and any errors and stuff, and we can see how many people are playing DLC. And I was always a little skeptical of how many people would actually be picking up additional content for a game 4 months after it comes out. We have a decent amount of people who are just, they buy it and play it, and feedback's been great. One of the consistent pieces of feedback is the maps in Titanfall are great because, and I think it's because our entire design department, instead of having to focus half on single player, half on multiplayer, we went all in on multiplayer. And so there were no spare cycles. It was all dedicated to the gameplay of multiplayer. So they really are allowed to spend the time to think and iterate on what's fun to play.
Yeah, and then especially in the DLC, they get a chance to put in cool stuff. Like there's the neat trap that's on. Why am I blanking?
Change names, export.
Because it changes names. That's right. Because you name them internally,
Right,
and then you use that for a
exactly.
while, and then it comes out, and you totally have to remember that it's not called that anymore. Like the cool trap that's on export. If you have Titans that are going up the hill on the far side, you can trigger a trap that electrocutes them. And like I started using that really successfully.
Yeah,
Like the last
time
few
it was
weeks,
good.
I've been just destroying with it. And it's cool to see them do these sort of more experimental kind of like neat things. Like there's some turret stuff, and there's that pathway that I was talking about in Sandtrap, and like
Right.
just kind of experimenting with stuff that you can do to bolster the movement and sort of extra things you can do in Titanfall.
Very cool. And I just have like sort of a logistical question, which is one of the things that I think is really interesting about the game is that there is narrative in the game, and it's actually kind of got if you play both militia, and on the side of the ex-Hammond folks, like it definitely seems like either side has like a compelling narrative, but I'm curious like in the ways that you approach that going into a game that's all sort of multiplayer, like
It was actually pretty difficult to not just make future Nazis.
Right.
It's really easy when you have a bad guy and a good guy.
Right.
There is the video clip that we sent around. It's the guys that do Peep Show, and they have this like
Are
really
they
funny thing
baddies?
where they're sitting around, they're Nazis, and they've got like these, they've got like swastikas and like skulls and all this stuff on their uniforms, and the one guy just goes like, "Are we the bad guys?" And well,
Right.
because it's like a skull, and like we're looking at the other guys, they have like an eagle, and like it's the really nice stuff, and
right.
and they're so I guess that was sort of the art consideration for it. But
Yeah, so we had to kind of just consciously make it more of a gray area.
Right.
Like the militia, they're the people rising up, but maybe they go about doing things in ways that not everyone agrees with, so they're not necessarily the good guys all the time. And then the IMC, it's their actual territory, and so they're just trying to police the area, and so that you don't want people to feel bad about being one
Right.
side or the other. And some people want to be the bad guys. Like I would be a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cool. So there
Get
is a
the
little bit,
armor,
there is a
come
little
on,
bit about that. You got the character Blisk, who's on the IMC side, and he's a murdering maniac, and people love him. So there is a little bit of that.
cool.
Are we able to take a few Skype questions? Is that okay? Do we have time? They have questions. Look, they want it. They want to
Yeah.
be heard.
Yeah.
Are you guys cool to take some Skype questions?
sure.
Okay.
Yes, we
All right. We're gonna start with bottom right. You're so kind, raising your hand.
I love the game. I've been playing Titanfall for at least a good month now, and I love it. Love the mechanics. Love the grunts, how they just do their own thing. Love the mechanics of the game. The questions I have and the things I want to do probably can't even fit in the time that I have to ask you. So even then, I'd love to play with you guys. But one issue that I have right now, I'm playing Titanfall, and there's 3 gens on their team. I'm Gen 2, stuck with the team of Gen 1s. So it's team balancing, and in my case, that I don't find the team balancing as great. Do you guys have a way to provide that? Like I know when you're playing with friends, it puts you with your friends, and I do enjoy that because when I do play with my friends, I would like them on my team. So that's one thing I'd like to touch on.
Yeah, so matchmaking is something that we have continually spent time iterating on and trying to make better. We only have 85, 90 people in the office, so all internal tests, it's like the skill gap is not going to be that great, and you're not going to get a wide diversity of playstyles. So it's really hard to test that kind of stuff before it comes out.
True.
So we have, since release, been taking a look at matchmaking and how we determine a player's skill. And something that has come up a lot, we see posts on Reddit all the time of, this matchmaking is terrible. Look, it was 6 Gen 3 guys versus all Gen 1 guys. And it's like, well, just because you're higher gen doesn't mean you have a higher skill. You may know more about the game, but you're not going to be as good at maneuvering or aiming. And we actually do have a skill system on the back end that the user doesn't see, but it determines, how highly ranked you are in our eyes, and that changes constantly. So we try and match similar skilled teams together. And when we launched the game, what it would do is it would build a team with you, so you would get 5 teammates, and try and have similar skill. And then it would create a team skill for your team. And then it would try and find an enemy team of similar skill. So it would build your team, build another team, and then match you up. And
Is
the problems
it
with that would
based
be
on some kind of
if
allow
3
system
people
or
on the
something?
enemy team left between rounds, we wouldn't have a chance to balance because now you were set as a team. So what we do now is we get a lobby of 12 to 18 or 16 people, and then figure out, okay, in this lobby, what's the best skill gap to match people up with. So it's something we're constantly working on. But yeah, we will never break up parties. So if you're playing with your friends, we will never put you on opposite teams.
Guys, if you need balance, I will offer to come in because I don't think anyone can be worse than me. And I will play and you'll have a new baseline.
Thanks, Blair. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I just want to offer that up. I think we're pausing on Skype for 1 second.
Pause on Skype for 1 sec. One of the things we've been asking people that have been coming on, because this is a 24-hour celebration of PC gaming, is there a PC game that just got you guys? Like, oh my gosh, I'm totally in with PC gaming.
What's your deep cut?
I mean, started with Quake and Doom, and then the original Team Fortress and Counter-Strike were up there. But like, I also had all the Star Wars games for PC in the mid-90s, like Rebel Assault through Dark Forces and Jedi Knight. Like Dark Forces was
Oh my God.
amazing. So I was really hooked on those. And then, you know, like some of the odder ones, like the Neverhood and like a bunch of those cool. I had tons of PC games. Although, if you were to go back earlier in that, it probably was like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego or something.
Right.
I know.
Mavis
Yeah.
Beacon teaches typing.
I had to get an almanac, like not an almanac, but like a little like encyclopedia thing.
Oh
with
yeah, well
country flags,
they
and be
used to
like,
send
"What
you
is
to
this?"
get the whole book, and then they
Yeah.
started shipping it with Microsoft and Carta.
Yes,
Yes.
Back
thank
before you could just Google search
Oh my gosh,
everything.
she just brought up so many memories.
I know, right?
Wow, that's true. Because I said earlier, I was saying Quake was really my first, real recollection of being involved in PC gaming. But yeah, it's not true. It was Carmen Sandiego.
How about you, Drew?
The thing that really cut me deep was probably Quake 1, and then Quake 2, followed up by the first Unreal Tournament. I lost years to those games, competed in tournaments and PGL and all that kind of stuff. And part of me is kind of dead inside now because games have moved away from that style, of item control, respawn timers, armor control, learning the sounds of maps, and one-on-ones and clan arena, and like all the stuff that a whole generation of gamers probably thinks I'm crazy talking about right now. But it defined a good 6 years of my life.
But it is really interesting just because the world of PC gaming, especially with indie games, has opened up so much. I mean, you've got stuff now like Gone Home, which is like a very quiet, emotional game, and then you have like crazy stuff like the Skyrim mod where a giant My Little Pony has replaced all the dragons.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
There's a great indie scene for it. Drew and I used to share an office, and do you remember what you did to me?
Yeah, it was great.
Terrible.
awesome.
I was playing Amnesia, and I was playing at work after the office closed. I had like my headphones on, and like the lights went out.
my
You're
God.
missing the best part.
All right, go for it. You tell the
I'll
story.
tell the story.
No,
It's
no,
much
you tell
better.
the story.
So Amnesia came out, she downloaded it, and she was like, I'm gonna play this tonight, and I was like, she was gonna like go get a drink or something. All right, I'm going home for the night, and there was like a little like, office was terribly made, but there's like this little nook in the back corner of the office with like some boxes in front of it, and so I got my backpack and pretend like I was leaving, and she went to go get a drink, and I hid back around behind the boxes knowing she was gonna come right back to play Amnesia. So I waited like maybe 60 seconds after she came back and was playing. Lights had turned off for some reason, like perfectly, I don't know, motion sensor or something. And she was playing, and something like went across. They just kind of glimpse of things in that game. And I shook her chair. She had headphones on. I don't think I've ever seen someone that angry. It was.
He got you.
Yeah,
notice
you
we
got
don't
me
share an
really
office
good.
anymore. So.
Yeah, that's why we don't share an office.
There's some like truly terrifying games now for the PC. It's just it's really cool to see how smaller, more ambitious, and also games that maybe might not appeal to a wider marketplace but are thriving and like finding their audience. That's really cool.
Yeah. How many times on feedback did I say that I was hoping that they would do a Fatal Frame for Wii U? And I think that that's finally happening
many
now.
times,
It's like, that would be
yeah.
the one horror game, 'cause I love horror games.
Yeah.
It'll be like the one where it's like, that would really fit the equipment there. And then I think that that's like finally happening. But yeah, I love like, so those like niche games, like Amnesia's not, I don't think it's a game they made, well, I mean, like maybe on like indie marketplace, but
Right.
like for PC it was perfect. And then just sit
Yeah.
there with like really nice headphones and have Drew scare the shit out of you. Thanks, Drew.
What's next for Respawn?
I wish
Just
we could.
spill
Vacation.
all your secrets right
yeah,
here.
we actually, because so Titanfall was our first game as a studio, and we didn't have necessarily the game was done and everyone can go take a break for a little while because we crunched pretty hard. It was well now we got to start working on a patch. We have DLC to work on, and so we kind of rolled straight from going gold to shipping now 7 patches or something like that. and
Yeah, it'll be 7.
soon to be 9 extra maps. Like we've made a huge amount of stuff for the game, so we're finally going to be shutting the studio down for a couple weeks Let people like I'm just gonna go home.
You all just
sit
gonna
on my
like get
couch.
IVs put in your
Yeah.
arms and
Yeah,
like in a
pretty much,
Barca
yeah.
lounger
Yeah.
and just watch like 40 shows on Netflix. Or
Yeah, it's gonna be the Golden Girls just constantly.
Right.
But
Soothing
so we're gonna do
voice
that.
of
But
Blanche.
we're still working on Titanfall stuff. We're not quite done. It's a multiplayer game that we still want to give more and more to our customers for. And it's all going to be free aside from the DLC packs. Aside from that, we can't really say too much.
Can I ask? This is more of a hypothetical, but for each of you guys, is there a genre that you'd love to explore that you haven't been able to yet? With like something down the line, or just something that would be cool for you guys?
You don't have to speak on behalf of Respawn. We won't
Yeah,
hold
not
you
on
to
behalf
this.
of
like
Respawn.
you
Yes.
guys said. No, like just personally,
Yeah.
just because you guys, are gamers, and so what was an environment, a world, I don't know, that you just would
A
want
genre,
a genre,
anything, yeah.
No, like I was saying earlier, like I feel like a really fast-paced, high-skill ceiling PC FPS meant for competitive play, like that's what it was built around and done right, and with a proper budget and development team. Like I'm really excited for what Cliffy B's doing. I'm really
Right.
excited for the new Unreal Tournament. I've got to have hope that something great's going to come out of there.
Right.
But I mean, for me personally, that is where my game development passion would lie.
How about
Yeah,
you?
I mean, because I'm more of a shooter person, so I'm kind of there with Drew. Like, I feel like I'm working in kind of my ideal environment. But I like on this, I love survival horror stuff and kind of have a soft spot there. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know. This really fits me. I still play Titanfall every day, pretty much. So
Yeah, we're pretty lucky to have worked on a game that everyone at the office is super proud of, and we're all playing all the time. So
When
I
you
think
guys
that's
hear
the idea.
Yeah.
Totally.
when you
Yeah,
guys
it's a
hear
hope.
announcements from obviously things like NVIDIA with the Maxwell GPU, what does that do for you as developers?
it's kind of funny because me personally, like I just built a crazy Haswell E machine the day that came out, and I went to Fry's and picked it up, and spent all weekend putting it together and stuff. And for me, I'm gonna try and grab a 980 and throw it in and see what all I can crank and do the crazy dynamic super resolution stuff. But as game developers, you have to always balance both the high end and the low end.
Right.
And the thing that's actually gets me excited is it's not just the 1 year of evolution of now. I mean, it's a great leap. I can't believe what they've done, especially without lowering the process, the die size and stuff. But it really means that in a couple years, that kind of stuff is going to be mainstream. So the faster things progress, now we don't have to worry about DX9 cards, and in a couple years we won't have to worry about DX10 probably, and soon enough we'll only be caring about DX12, and so it's that kind of trickle down effect. I can't wait for the more mainstream Maxwell-based GPUs to be commonplace, because then we can target tons of cool effects and things we can do for a wide audience that some people would love if we just made something that only ran on the highest $1,000 SLI setup, but you can't sustain a studio like that most of the time. So I really want that kind of tech to come to everyone, and so to me it's just ushering in more and more of that.
I have a goofy question, but obviously, one of the greatest things about Titanfall is sort of the gravity-defying leaps and the speed of the game with the introduction of Oculus and that kind of technology. Could you even do Titanfall, or would you get violently ill? Would you just have players who were like falling onto the ground?
It's the cyber sickness that people are trying to control. So with a game like Titanfall,
It's kind of an incredible thought, that perspective, that having that POV. But
I'm just waiting for one of the programmers to on his when the studio shut down.
Right.
With it, we got a
Yeah, we've
handful of
got-
guys with the dev
yeah.
kits.
Right.
That they play around with and stuff. But I'm just waiting for them to tinker in and put it in so we can have a contest to see who lasts the longest before just puking.
Yes.
Right.
yeah, exactly.
But personally, I think stuff like Elite and Star Citizen and racing games, like things where your person is
Grounded.
stationary,
Yeah.
will be good.
Valkyrie.
Maybe even in a in Titanfall, it'd be cool to be looking around the cockpit and
Right.
Yeah.
flipping switches and stuff. But trying to double jump around a map and wall run, I have a really strong stomach for that kind of
Right.
stuff.
I don't know
and
that
I
I
don't
could do
I don't think I
that.
can handle
I
it.
feel like your stomach would be dropping every
Yeah.
time. Just-
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd love to try it though.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I'd still
the
try
whole-
it.
So
we'll do
is-
the contest.
So what I think you guys should do an in-office contest and
We should film it.
Film
we should
it.
live stream
That would be
Oh,
amazing.
God.
for the
Take
rest of
bets
us.
and
All right.
donate the
Sure.
proceeds.
Absolutely.
That'd be a great promotion for
All right, tell the programmers.
get a bunch of headsets around the office. That would be a great promotion for like an upcoming DLC. Like, this is what happens when we all.
It's so much better than our normal contest of like, what disgusting thing can you eat?
I always lose those.
Who can chug a can of energy drink?
I just want to take a quick opportunity to remind people to be looking at the bottom of the screen for the hidden letters that we're going to be letting you guys know, and that's for your chance to win the Tricked Out mods from Mod 24, and then also use the hashtag Game24 if you guys are wondering what this beauty is over here.
Falcon Northwest.
We are going to be giving this tiki away. Yes, so all you got to do to have a chance to win is just use the hashtag Game24. You could do that right now.
Yes.
And be like, I love watching Abby and Drew talk Titanfall, hashtag Game24, and now you're in to win this thing. Right? Done.
I don't think anyone would actually say that though, but it's okay.
Oh, perfect.
Guys,
We're
thank
so
you.
self-deprecating.
Is there anything else you want to
Yeah.
leave? You want to leave the viewers with? Like you came here and you were like, I want to say this.
We did,
the
and we
interwebs.
weren't allowed to say it. So
Really?
yeah, it's
Oh.
not our fault. But we do have some really cool stuff coming up in the next few months, even as we take a little bit of a break ourselves. Luckily, our design team and everybody has been working super hard on getting some cool stuff in the can. So we're gonna have some cool stuff for you. And I hate that that's all that we can say about
What,
it right now.
is there a timeline for that announcement at all?
The future.
Sometime in the future, you
Yeah.
heard it here first.
Nah.
Wah, wah, wah. No. See, if you wouldn't have told me that, I wouldn't have been sad. But now that you ended with that.
We just like to end it on a really disappointing note.
Thanks, Abby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Abby, Heavy, and Drew McCoy, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I guess that would have worked better if there was applause. Just
I know. We pretend like we have a live studio audience, but we don't. They're just right here, and the volume is down right now, Blair.
Yeah.
So we have to turn Skype up.
sorry, guys. Hour 23. Yes.
Skype, can you give us some
Thanks,
claps?
Skype.
I'm turning you up. Can you give a round of applause?
Thank you, Skype.
Hey, wake
Yeah,
up.
thanks, Skype.
Give me Titanfall for free. You were ready with the sign. I love it. You guys rock.